Imagine waking up one day to find out that nearly 300 years of history never happened. No Holy Roman Empire, no Charlemagne, just a blank spot in time. Sounds like a sci-fi plot, right? But some people believe it's true. This is the phantom time hypothesis, one of history's wildest theories. Buckle up, because we're diving into a mystery that questions everything we know about the past. First, let's set the stage. The phantom time hypothesis claims that the years 614 to 911 AD were completely made up. According to this theory, we're not living in 2025, but closer to 1728. How could this happen? Why would anyone fake 3 centuries? And who's behind this idea? Let's break it down. The phantom time hypothesis was born in the 1990s, thanks to a German historian named Heribert Illig. Illig noticed something odd while studying the early Middle Ages. The records from 614 to 911 AD, the so-called early medieval period, seemed sparse. There were fewer artifacts, fewer documents, and a surprising lack of major events compared to other eras. Illig argued this wasn't just a historical gap, it was evidence that those years didn't exist. His theory? Powerful figures, like the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III and Pope Sylvester II, conspired to fabricate 297 years to make their reigns align with the year 1000 AD, a symbolically important date for Christianity. By fudging the calendar, they could claim divine significance. Sounds crazy, right? But Illig pointed to some puzzling clues to back it up. So, what evidence does the phantom time hypothesis rely on? First, Illig and his supporters, like engineer Hans Ulrich Niemitz, argue that the early Middle Ages are suspiciously quiet. There's a lack of archaeological finds, like buildings, pottery, or tools, compared to the centuries before and after. For example, the Roman Empire left behind grand structures, but the 7th to 9th centuries? Not much. Illig claimed this dark age was too dark to be real. Another clue, the calendar itself. In the 6th century, the Julian calendar was widely used, but it was slightly inaccurate, drifting by about 10 days every 1,000 years. Illig argued that when Pope Gregory XIII introduced the Gregorian calendar in 1582, the correction should have been smaller if 297 years were missing. Then there's Charlemagne, the poster child of this period. Illig suggested his reign, from 768 to 814 AD, was exaggerated or entirely invented to fill the gap. Few original documents from Charlemagne's time survive, and many stories about him come from later sources. Could the father of Europe be a myth? But here's the kicker, Illig didn't just say history was faked. He proposed that Otto III, ruling around 1000 AD, wanted to cement his legacy as a divine emperor. By tweaking the calendar, Otto could claim he ruled at the dawn of a new millennium. It's a bold claim, but does it hold up? Now, let's play devil's advocate. The phantom time hypothesis has some serious skeptics, and for good reason. Historians point out that the early Middle Ages weren't as empty as Illig claimed. We have records from the Byzantine Empire, Islamic caliphates, and even China that align with the standard timeline. For example, the Tang dynasty in China documented events like eclipses that match our current calendar perfectly. If 297 years were missing, those records would be off. Astronomy is another problem for the theory. Events like solar eclipses and comets, recorded across cultures, line up with our timeline. Halley's Comet, for instance, appeared in 837 AD, right on schedule. If those years were faked, the math wouldn't add up. And what about buildings? While fewer structures survive from the early Middle Ages, some, like the Aachen Cathedral, are dated to Charlemagne's time. Dendrochronology, tree ring dating, confirms their age. Faking that would require an impossibly elaborate conspiracy. Finally, why would Otto III and the Pope bother? Rewriting history across Europe, Byzantium, and beyond would have needed coordination on a scale that's hard to imagine, especially in a pre-digital world. Most historians call the theory a stretch, at best. So, if the phantom time hypothesis is so unlikely, why does it keep people hooked? For one, it taps into our love of conspiracies. The idea that history could be manipulated makes us question what we take for granted. It's also a reminder that history isn't set in stone. Records can be lost, altered, or misinterpreted. The early Middle Ages were a chaotic time, with fewer written sources after the fall of Rome. That gap fuels speculation. Plus, the theory raises big questions. How do we know what we know? Can we trust the timeline we've been taught? Even if Illig's idea doesn't hold up, it forces us to think critically about the past, and that's valuable. So, what do you think? Did 297 years vanish from history, or is the phantom time hypothesis just a wild thought experiment? The truth might lie in the messy middle. History is full of gaps, but faking 3 centuries would be the ultimate cover-up. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, hit that like button and subscribe for more weird history. Drop a comment. Would you believe in a phantom time, or is it too far-fetched? And check out our next video on another historical mystery. Until then, keep questioning the past.